So, hello everyone, one more time. I hope that now it works better. I am Erica of beadingschool.com. You are watching Coffee Time with Erica, and today we are going to talk about filigrees and how you can use them in your beadwork. Please let me know in a comment if you can hear me, if you can see me. This should be online on the Beading School Facebook channel, also on the Beading School Facebook page. And a moment ago I tried, but unfortunately the program that I am using did not connect to Facebook. So I wanted to give it another chance and start anew. Antoinette says it's great now. Jessica is watching from Facebook. That is wonderful. Lita is here from Facebook. Then thank you for waiting it out, dear ladies. There was a glitch a little while ago. Sherry is here. What a shame would it have been if you could not find the stream. But now I don't see anyone coming in from YouTube. So please, ladies, let me know if you can see this on YouTube. Katja, Erica says she can hear me and see me on YouTube. That is wonderful. Cindy, Corinne, Gunel. Wonderful. Good company again today, and I know that many of you love filigrees just as much, or maybe even more if that's possible, than me. So we are going to talk about all kinds of filigrees, how we can add them to our beadwork, and I'm very curious how you love using them and if you have personal recommendations. So I have put together some beautiful pictures for you and introduce you different kind of filigrees. What are filigrees? They are delicate ornamental metal works from pieces from metal in gold, silver, or any other bronze or any other kind of metal wires. And in my opinion, they give a mysterious, romantic fairy tale atmosphere to any jewel. Also, it's very in to wear vintage these days, and they also give a vintage historic vibe to any piece they are attached to. You can use them in bead embroidery, attach your beadwork on top of it, use the smaller pieces as connectors or even drops or hangers. We will discuss each of these options one by one. On the picture, you can see as the ladies in the beading school treasury, they are packing one of the beautiful Bavarian Princess Beading School Academy boxes. And indeed, there was also a hairpiece included, a filigree that in one is already an ornament for your hair. So I thought that it's very fitting that because of that, we look a little bit more into other types of filigrees and how we can use them in the most beautiful ways in our beadwork. In the meanwhile, I see also that Robin joined from YouTube, Lutka, Irene, Linda, Bernadette, Samia is here, Martika, Helena. Helena is saying hi to everyone, every beading friend from around the world. And here you can see me better, I think. Robin didn't see me. Kimberly is here. Linda. It should be okay. I see now comments coming in both from YouTube and from Facebook. So hopefully everyone will figure it out. You just need to refresh a few times. So back to filigrees. You can even bead right into them using the openings. So there are lots and lots of possibilities how you can include them in your beadwork. But before we would start talking about specific ways. Hands up, ladies. Have you ever tried using filigrees in your beadwork? Also, please tell me if you haven't had an experience with filigrees yet. And how was your first experience? Was it challenging? Did it feel safe and easy? Please tell me about it. Cosima is here also. Loretta says that she hasn't used filigrees yet in her beadwork. Then Loretta, I'm also curious, what is holding you back? Do you like them, but don't know how to start maybe? Or they just don't call your name, and that's also absolutely all right. Gunnar says that she has used filigrees indeed. And Lita says, yes, thanks to beading school, you and the team have taught me so much. And I'm so happy about that, Lita. You include filigrees in your beadwork in beautiful ways. Linda used the filigree only once in the December team. Oh, indeed, we had a beautiful one there. And Heather was teaching us how to include it in our beadwork. Linda says, I love the filigree. I just don't like covering up the beauty of them. And luckily, there are different ways how we can use them. Sometimes we cover them, sometimes we don't. So it's absolutely all right. And Anita used a filigree in her very first competition submission. And she says it looked good. And I think everyone is doing well in the competition because, well, there can be only one winner, but everyone is creating so beautiful pieces. And when you are writing about it, that how much the contests push you to do even more, try new things, that is the real reward. So please keep that on your mind. Martika used them twice in pendants. Erica finds it intimidating still. Loretta also needs to learn more about them. And Jessica says, first experience, a little tricky, easy to get caught somewhere, but worth it in the end. Absolutely. And Helena says, I have never tried filigree, not sure when or why to use them. Then I hope that today's video will give you many reasons why you should try them. Kimberly says, I have a serious obsession with the filigrees from the weaving school. And Sharon is here. Sandra says, I just want them to stay in my stash. So it's super nice that we have here today beaders who are just at the beginning of exploring even that, like what are filigrees, how to use them. And then we also have here beaders who already can share their knowledge and best practices about using filigrees. So it's a beautiful mix, and nice that we all got together today. So I started to include filigrees in my beadwork about 10 years ago. And I got to know the filigrees actually because of the historic collection that I discovered about a decade ago in the Czech Republic. So the story is that the historic filigrees, they are made with machines that and designs that some of them are about 100 years old. They can be like Art Deco, Art Nouveau, but they are newly made. So this is a journey through times, and you can really have a piece of history on your bead mat and in your jewelry when you decide to work with them. The filigrees, they are made by using stampings. Imagine it that the machine has a head that pushes the metal that goes through it. And the historic filigrees, they are incredibly detailed. There are not only holes in the filigrees, but also little dots, for example, that's called granulation, lots of details in the surface of the metal, and that is achieved by the usage of several stampings for the same design. So, for example, one that looks like the one on the picture next to me is made, I'm sorry, by using about 5-6 stampings. I'm sorry, ladies, I need to bring some water. I have a bit of a throat pain, and as I started to talk, that it really flared up. I apologize. I will be back in a moment. Thank you for your patience. So, when the metal, the raw material for the filigree, travels through the machine, then when the first stamp pushes the metal, then maybe it marks only some details. Then the next stamp, the same piece of metal, slightly marked, goes through the next stamping, the next stage, and that adds something more. For example, it cuts some of the holes. Then the third one, it gives even more details. The fourth one, it might cut it even more. The fifth one adds the details on the surface. So it is a long process, and once you hold a historic filigree in your hand, then you really see why is it so worth it. The machines, and especially the stamps, they are super old. And after the Second World War, they actually ended up somewhere in a scrapyard. Not long after I discovered how great it is to work with them, the family manufacturer where they are made, they told me the story that actually they found the machines, the designs in the scrapyard, and they rescued them from being lost forever. So it is a very precious story for me. And every time when we are reviving one of these historic filigrees, working together with this family manufacturer, then we are going through an extensive so-called filigree library where there is a sample of each of the filigrees that can be revived, and then we select one that is still possible to make. And I have to emphasize this part, that still possible to make, because unfortunately the stampings, they wear off. By using them many times, the surface of the stamping can just tarnish, the details will not be strong enough anymore. So after a while, a filigree will be lost forever. I don't know about any other company who would go into the trouble and the time and the investment of working with something like this. So this is truly something unique. And recently, when with Andrea, we traveled to the Crystal Valley in the Czech Republic, then of course we also visited this family manufacturer where they are working with these historic machines. And that's also where we are like going through one of those warehouses where you really need to be there in person and you need to pull out some drawers, you need to step on ladders, you need to dig out what is hidden there. And I really, really enjoy doing that and bringing you back indeed a piece of history. This is a small part of the filigree library that we are selecting from every time when we decide to revive one of these filigrees. And this is literally how I was going through the stash of the warehouse a little while ago. And it seems I just found something precious in that top drawer. And 3 years ago, we also visited them, and this is how one of the stampings look like. As you can see, it's like a big, pretty heavy metal block where the stamping is scratched into the surface of the metal, and that is one of the stampings needed, one of the 5-6 stampings needed for a design. Unfortunately, this one has a black cross across it, so it means that this specific filigree cannot be made anymore. And not all filigrees are historic that you can find at beading school. We have them specifically marked in the bead shop as the historic filigrees made in EU. So if you are looking for that collection, then please make sure that you are selecting from the right category. And what I love about them also, that they are newly made, even if using those old designs and old machinery. So the metal that they are made of, it qualifies through the strictest European Union regulations. So when you wear a filigree from the historic collection, then you know that this is the best that you can have. It happens to me very rarely that a hole would be clogged on a filigree compared to like other other ones. So they are also pleasure to work with. I often bead directly into them. I use my usual 4LB fire line, and the thread just stays strong, and I don't have a problem with the filigree cutting the thread at all. And indeed, Linda says that already the ornamentation of this is so beautiful. So these were this was a little historic insight and a little background story of the historic filigrees. Brenda has a nice question about them. She's asking, were the stampings hand carved? Was each 5 or 6 stamps hand pressed by a person or mechanically? So the stampings, I think I don't know about the carving itself, and I don't know if I can get information since they are so old, but then they are pressed mechanically. So there is a machine where you insert the stamping and the machine presses it down into the metal. And it needs to be like strong and consistent. So this is not something that would be sustainable or maybe even like good quality if a person would make the stampings by hand. And the reason why I started actually to use filigrees, they can be used in many, many, many ways. Today I would like to show you several to give you an insight that how many possibilities are out there. And some of you might recognize this cute design. It's the Anita, and we beaded it together about 3 years ago during one of the first No One Has to Be Alone sessions. And indeed, sometimes it happened that my beaded motif did not stay completely flat as I intended it to be. So that was one of the ways how I started to include filigrees in my beadwork, that I simply sewed it down into the filigree. This is not a historic one, by the way, but I love this motif, and this is the first times when what I could remember, one of the first times. So they can also help you with that. Or if you are not as a tight beader and your beadwork stays a little bit maybe not so sturdy, then you can also make it stronger by attaching it into a filigree. You do it by the same thread as you are working with, and I have a YouTube video, and I'm going to post the link for you now, where you can look it up, how to attach the filigree to your beadwork. So you will find the link in a comment, and I will also post it later on our Facebook channel. Then another way where how I started to use filigrees in my beadwork was that I added them to my bead embroidered pieces. And many times I hear from you, dear beaders, that you don't like covering them, because indeed, in this first case that I showed you, most of the filigree is covered. It is important that it's there, not only for making the beadwork sturdier, but also because those pieces of the metalwork around the beaded motif itself, they really add to the aesthetics of the jewel. But of course, there are times when we really want to showcase the filigree. And bead embroidery is an easy way to do that. You can also, what I really, really, really love doing, is to play with the color of the ultra suede, the foundation material under the filigree. So again, I make just tiny stitches. I use the same fire line as always, and I sew down the filigree at several places to the ultra suede. First, of course, I tie a knot, and then I make tiny, tiny, tiny stitches all around. And in this case, I attached it to the ultra suede in 3 circles. So the very edge of the filigree is attached to the ultra suede, then a little bit closer to the middle of the filigree I went all around one more time, and then very close to that middle part I went all around and did tiny stitches again. And then I could continue with playing with my beads, and I added all kinds of glass beads all around, while the historic filigree really stayed the centerpiece of the jewel, and it's even brightened up by this mustard yellow ultra suede. And Robin says, in the meanwhile, I have always loved filigree, but didn't know how to use them except by themselves. Now, thanks to beading school, I have a lot and have made a beautiful hair clip for my daughter. I have also made a couple of brooches. Looking forward to making so many more. Robin, I'm glad that you learned so much and that you have a big stash of beautiful jewels now. And let's see another example how you can use them. This is again bead embroidery, but I wanted to give you 2 different examples of bead embroidery with filigrees, because while with the previous tutorial, the Janice J, the filigree was defocal, it doesn't always has to be. Sometimes it's enough that we add a detail to the main beaded motif. Doesn't matter actually that bead weaving or bead embroidery, in this case bead embroidery, but here I have the Victoria filigree at the bottom of the main part and also at the top of the main part, partially under the beaded under the beadwork. So indeed, when we take care of the details, then I think that really makes a difference. Then I have here, let's move on to beadwork from bead embroidery. So while the very first one I showed you, that was also beadwork, and I used the filigree there because my motif was not completely flat. Then in this case, Zuzi and her auriga motif from the Winter Tale Beading School Academy box. You don't need to add the filigree there, but here I wanted to show you that how much it elevates the look of the jewel. She sewed it down to the filigree. She did not bead it directly. Hi, Miriam and Angelina. She did not bead it directly to the filigree, but attached it later. And it is really great fun selecting the best matching filigree to your beadwork. It really adds something. And Terry, hi Terry, she says, this is my favorite way to use them. I like the combination of the beautiful beadwork and openness of the filigree. Indeed, Zuzi did a great job here. And then from the same Winter Tale theme and the same filigree, but a completely different approach. So in this case, Heather Kingsley Heath, who was the patron of the Winter Tale Beading School Academy theme box, she beaded directly into the filigree. So while Zuzi added the filigree after she finished the motif, Heather it would not be possible to make Heather's motif without the filigree. You bead directly into it. And then we have here another example of the Alcazar from Veronka. And here she made a decoration for the top of the filigree, and she used the hole in the middle of the filigree. So sometimes the filigrees are like fully detailed, but sometimes there are more open spaces, and you can start your thought process by looking at the filigree that, okay, this opening looks like maybe it could fit a gem duo, or maybe it could fit a 6mm or 4mm bicon. So also another way of playing with them is to just look at them and explore what kind of shapes do you discover in the filigree itself. And Linda says that she likes to put her work on a filigree for her mom, who is 93 years old, and this way she protects the jewels. And Miriam also loves filigrees, and she says that they can really lift a piece on the next step. And Wilhelmine is indeed mentioning Nitti's windrows that I put on the screen now. And another example how you can showcase the beauty of the filigree and not cover much of it if you decorate the edge of the filigree, what Nitti did here with the bicons and some Japanese miyuki seed beads. And the filigree really stays in full sight. Then let's move on a little bit, because until now the filigree was always part of the main element of the beadwork, but it can also support the beadwork or even have some functionality. So what I did here is that I have a big pendant in the middle, and I used the filigrees as connectors between the big pendant and the necklace part that I made from 6mm round pearl. I glued on a 7mm shotton rose directly onto the filigree, and then I made loops from size 15 seed beads to attach the filigree to the beadwork, and on the other side to attach the filigree to the necklace strands. So another super easy way of using the filigrees. And I could not find that picture because I don't remember the name of the jewel, but I even used one time a filigree in place of a pendant holder. So the chain was connected directly to the pendant part. And Irena is asking that what was Nitti's jewel? It's windrose. Then something else. So the filigrees that we were looking at until now, they were stampings without any extra loops, but sometimes you can also have loops on the filigrees. And in this case, this is also a historic filigree that I have at the bottom of the Louisiana earring. I could connect it directly into a crystal connector by just opening up the loop of the crystal connector and then closing it again in the loop, through the loop of the filigree. And Terry, for example, likes the small butterfly filigrees. They are great accents to bead embroidered pieces. Indeed, you can also layer the filigrees and put them on top of your beadworks. So really many possibilities. And mentioning layering, this is the Jaipur earring, and the filigree, the historic filigree, creates a layer between the peyote part and between the art cabochon. And you see how it looks like an ancient mirror, for example. And this is another way how you can work with the filigrees. And for this you need only glue. It's super easy. And here we have Zuzi Stushinskaya, and this was actually one of the first designs that Zuzi did for beading school. And in this case, again, lots of the filigree is visible, but I wanted to show you this because not only the edge of the filigree is free, but also in the middle you can see through the motif. So this is another way of decorating the filigree. And thank you, Martika, for being so kind. My knowledge is just part of this, and Zuzi and Nitti and Veronka and everyone, you beading school beaders, bring so much to this common knowledge that we share here. And after the historic filigrees, which usually are flat pieces of metal with or without a loop, mostly without a loop, I would also like to look into two more types of filigrees now, which already have a designated function how you can use them in your beadwork. And some of you have already mentioned brooches, and indeed we have filigrees that already have a brooch component attached from the backside. So it's super easy to attach the beadwork on top of your filigree, either by gluing or by sewing it down. And you can directly pin it on your t-shirt or on your coat. So this is Susie's Casablanca, for example, that you can see on the picture. Another piece, the brooch bases come in such a variety, many different shapes. Sometimes you can show more, sometimes you can show less from the filigree. It's really up to you. And here I have a bridge between two categories, because can you ladies recognize which design is this one and who made it? It is a variation of something that you might already know, but not the exact replica. Miriam says, I need more brooch shapes. I think we all do. Never enough. And it's really like great fun, in my opinion, when I'm already done with the motif and then I'm selecting which filigree, which brooch, which hairpiece is the most fitting. And Miriam is right, it's knitties. And Wilhelmine says that it looks like Knitty's hairpin. And indeed, this is a variation, a brooch variation of Knitty's Rebellion, as Samia says. So there are indeed brooch filigree bases, but there are also hair filigree pieces that you can put directly on and wear it proudly. And this is something new that I just got this picture today in the morning from lovely Susie. And this is another design from the Bavarian Princess box, but instead of the original pendant, this time Susie fixed it in one of the new filigree hair places. So lovely ladies, as Miriam said that we need more brooch bases, I also think that we need more hair pieces and we need more historic filigrees, and we definitely need Susie's Roseninzel motif. The Roseninzel is a jewel also from the Bavarian Princess collection. So you can bead it also only from the Bavarian Princess Beading School Academic Theme Box, but of course it also looks great in other variations and colors. And lovely ladies, I have here now something dangerous on my bead mat. Can you guess what is that? Something is looking dangerously at me. Drum roll, as Kimberly says. And Terry is partially right. Terry says it's a fuchsia box. Kristen says a dangerous fuchsia box of filigrees. Lovely ladies. I have here two dangerous boxes, really fully packed and barely possible to close, full of filigrees. And actually, there is one that I did not receive today because of time issues, but there are 3 boxes full of filigrees in a very limited amount waiting for you in the Beading School bead shop. And I will show you, we have one full of the, we have We have a dangerous fuchsia box full of brooch bases. We have a dangerous fuchsia box full of hair pieces. And then a third one that I didn't receive today is a historic filigree collection. All of them, we have only about 50 pieces. And if you decide to go for the 3-box bundle, then you will also receive a gift, Zuzi's tutorial for Roseninzel. The tutorial will have a value of 12 euros in the bead shop. Instead, you can get it as a gift on top of your 3-box bundle. And if you compare the price of the filigrees one by one in the bead shop to the dangerous fuchsia boxes, then you can save 15% if you go for the dangerous fuchsia boxes. And let's see what's inside, I say. I will switch to my hand camera now. Please let me know if you can still see me and you can still hear me. I will try to set the zooming right. This looks better, right? So let's look into the filigree brooch box first. There are some older shapes that you might know. There are also some newer shapes. There is some variety in the boxes regarding colors and a little variety regarding shapes. So like there can be like a 10% difference, let's say. And let's see what kind of shapes do we have. So we have here, for example, a wings brooch in antique bronze in my case. Zuzi already used this actually. She told me that she received one from Andrea as a gift a little bit earlier. You can turn it this way, you can turn it this way, and then it can also look like a flower bouquet. And this one has the brooch base attached to it. This is one of my favorites. It's kind of Art Deco a little bit. Angelina loves the kite shape. Then there is a tiny one called the Heaven's Door. So it is a rectangular shape. And I can imagine something tiny in the middle, but also there can be a bigger beaded motif here and only the top attached to the middle of the filigree brooch base. It's a super nice one in my opinion. Then this is one that I have known already, a round brooch filigree. It's the best if you use it with motifs, where the magic number is 6, so there are 6 sequences in a mandala shape. Another cutie is the poppy seeds brooch. Also perfect for a smaller motif. Then a small square. This is also about 2 times 2 centimeters. Ooh, and I just spotted something new. These are tiny and they come as a pair. I can already imagine them also like kind of like fake cufflinks pinned into my jacket, maybe 2 next to each other. Wow. Just, for example, with 2 square stitch bezeled chaton roses or nacre cabochons, and that would be already such a nice decoration in my opinion. How do you like it, ladies? Then another shape that I had in the past as a ring, but now it comes as a brooch. It's this kind of oval. Nice and sturdy. And Miriam finds the previous one. It's very cute. And Terry says, or use a chain as a connector to wear them together. And that's a great idea. Then we have here the flower wave brooch. Perfect for romantic motifs. The poppy seed also comes in a golden color. And Linda says you can hang fringe drops from the long filigrees. Indeed. So we have the poppy seeds in two variations here. Then the round one also comes in the golden variation. And another favorite of mine, the lens. This is such a good one in my opinion. A bit unusual. And I love how it's just different than all the usual round shapes. Oh, and I loved using this, the Sultan's Dream. I paired it in the past with one of Nitti's motifs, one of her first designs, the mosaic flower. And there I also covered only part of it, and it came out beautifully. It's decorated with some little leaves. And I love this line running in the filigree. And Catherine says, I like antique brass as a finish. Do you have those? Less bright than the gold. We have these ones for the antique look. I also prefer these ones. So like there are always some golden ones, but the most of it is antique. And another favorite of mine is the flame. It's super easy to use. I like to attach my beadwork here at this part and here on the side. And some old-time favorites that we didn't have for a while. I'm so happy that these are back. Thank you so much, Treasury ladies. The Northern Star. We didn't have it for a while. And the Hidden Hearts in antique bronze and gold colored. This is such a good one. This is where Susie attached the Casablanca. The dot brooch base. And then another one of my favorites, the liane in antique bronze in this case. And the last ones, two ice flowers in gold and antique bronze. These are bigger in size. And the brooch base is at the top of the filigree from the back. Then we have the hair pieces. And Irene is asking, how did you fit this all in one box? Well, it was a challenge. Like these boxes, they are like overflowing. Like this is the hair one. And when I opened it, then already it's like wants to come out from the box. It was a challenge for the ladies. And between the hair pieces, we have the flower filigree. Even Adam liked to wear this when I fixed it in his hair once without asking. And then he forgot that he's wearing it, and yeah, a nice one to have. Then a bigger one is the Sultan hair clip. This has a different mechanism. It has the same decoration as the Sultan brooch, but then a different mechanism to close. Perfect for those lovely ladies who have like longer, more hair. Then we also have some hairpins. They come as a pair, and you can fix something cute in the middle. There is actually a picture of Adam somewhere in the beading school club wearing the hairpiece. The most desperate beading ladies can look it up. Then another pair of pins, the leaf hairpin, and this we haven't had before. I think this is amazing. You can also, there is also a loop here, so you can also hang something cute here, and if you want, you can decorate the leaf itself. And Kimberly, there is no such thing as overexcitement when it comes to beading. Don't worry about that. We are all in this together. We understand the excitement. It's a completely normal level of excitement. And wait until you see this butterfly hair clip. It has a mechanism where you need to push the pin here, and you can also glue in something, decorate the wings, hang something here. Perfect for the summer, I think. Then another pair of hairpins, the poppy seeds, so you can create like matching pins and brooch if you like that. And another, the butterfly hair clip. Loretta says she loves butterflies, so these are perfect. And yes, we all have obsessions. Then we have here, this is actually the one that Susie used. The romantic hair clip. So this is actually like smaller in the middle, but Susie covered that part. And I can't wait also to see a picture of her wearing it. And then this is a good one. It's the big flower hair clip. Perfect for bigger motifs. It's a bit domed, so you need to be careful about that when you are using it. And indeed, you can also gift this. If you yourself don't wear hair pieces, you also have the possibility, of course, to gift them. And this actually has an identical middle part than the hidden heart brooch, so it can be a matching set. I just noticed it now, actually. And it is like a good quality filigree, but Miriam says it looks like a historic one. This is not the historic, but indeed it's sturdy. I trust this piece. It's well made. And the last one, it's something very different. It's actually a hair comb. And I'm super curious how you ladies will include this in your beadwork and how you will wear it. So these were the 2 dangerous fuchsia boxes with 15% off compared to bead shop prices that I could show you today. But as I said, we also have now a historic filigree collection. And if you go for the 3-box bundle, then Zuzi's Rosseninsel is not the only gift, but besides that, we also pack something extra to your purchase. And lovely ladies, I would like to thank you today for your attention and sharing your experience about using filigrees. And during this week, we will talk about filigrees a lot more in the Beading School Club and on the page. And on Thursday, you can knit this rebellion motif. I will put it on the screen during the next No One Has to Bead Alone session, where she used one of the filigree pieces. And Kimberly is asking if the separate hair clip bundle is also the same as the 3 combined. Indeed, only when you go for the bundle, then we take all of them from the shelf, but it is absolutely the same. Lovely ladies, do you have any questions that I can answer now? I would like to also thank you for sticking it out with us until we have the IT trouble. We are working on it daily together with a company specializing in these problems, and I know this is annoying while it's happening. I would like to thank you for your patience. Unfortunately, it's a bigger thing, so it can't be solved immediately. Also, to thank you for sticking with Beading School during these hard times, and we really, really appreciate that. Without you, we wouldn't be able to continue. So everyone receives a gift too. Thank you for your patience. And Linda is asking, when will Dear Sissy be available? Very soon, dear Linda. Very soon, I can say. I don't have now in front of me the exact date, but very soon. And Anna is asking for links, of course. And I will put here the link for the whole metal category. And there, if you scroll down a little bit, then you will find all the filigrees one by one. You will find also the component box. And I will look it up for you, the 3-box bundle also. Just a moment. So you can also find that in between the comments. Thank you so much for your attention, ladies, and enjoy the company of Nitty on Thursday. Bye bye.